Say that.
There is a contradiction between science and science.
Yeah. Or both. Welcome everybody. Good morning. Guten Erev Shabbos. Thank you for coming. So we're holding the third class in the Basi Legani Maamar Tavshin Chavav. In these pamphlets and these contrasts, and we're up to page Yud Ches. Page Yud Ches, the second paragraph, Ois Gimel, chapter 3. This series is dedicated in loving memory of Harav Reb Shnei Chaim HaKoyen, Ben Harav Reb Mordechai Ze'ev HaKoyen, Zechroinam Levracha, and by Reb Ezra David Philip in honor of the Rebbe's Shluchim doing this work. Okay, so I'm not going to give a summary of last year. That's what I always say. But if somebody didn't hear it, it's very kedai to hear it. Both in terms of the ideas itself and in terms of the context of this Maamar. But to summarize what the Rebbe said in the Maamar, in other words, what's the main point he's bringing out here is that to explain what the treasure, we have to always remember the theme here. There's a treasure, the ultimate treasures, the ultimate crown jewels that are given all the way from the highest to the deepest secrets of the King, of Hashem, that weren't ever revealed. And not only weren't revealed in the terms of spent or splurged or squandered or disseminated or distributed, but not even shown. In other words, not revealed in any way. Like in the metaphor of the king who gathered crown jewels for generations and stored it away because it's too precious even to be seen. Even seeing it is like, it's not necessary. It's there. Its existence is its existence, not anybody seeing it. Nonetheless, there comes a moment where even that's not just given, but splurged. It's called bizbus. It's almost like uninhibitedly spent. Why? Because what's at stake is something even deeper than that. What's deeper than that? Deeper than that is, deeper than the Malchus. These are the treasures of the Malchus, is the underlying purpose of the whole creation. In the metaphor, it's the nitzachon, the victory. But as we explained, it's not victory of an ego, it's the victory of good over evil, of light over darkness, of truth over falsehood. And to explain what this Eitzer is, he gets into the whole explanation, that was the main theme, that it says in Zohar, and Tikkunei Zohar, Eirein Soif, L'mayla Mayla Adin Ketz, L'mata Mata Adin Tachlis. And the L'mayla Mayla Adin Ketz is the Eitzer. That's the Hemshech. That's the L'mayla Mayla Adin Ketz, that's the Eitzer. And to explain all of this, he says that till chapter 16 of Basi Legani, the main focus is L'mayla Nekes L'mata Din Tachlis, how it affects the worlds. There's the power of revelation and the power of concealment. In Perek Tezayin, he takes it one step further, as he says, Ha'inyan Chadash, that in Eirein Soif itself, you have L'mayla Nekes L'mata Din Tachlis. And on this, he asked the question, L'cha'ira, if Eirein Soif is Ein Soif, why are you going upwards, why are you going downwards? It's a contradiction in terms. So Eirein Soif is Ein Soif. Till now, you're speaking about the way it impacts the world, the way it affects the other. But now you're talking about the Eirein Soif itself. So, and he says it's all in one place. It's not two separate places, so to speak. So now it's a contradiction. And then he says, but nonetheless, in the area you have both, and there's a difference between them, and there's a huge difference between them. And from this, the Rebbe proves that he's not talking about what we call in Chassidus Yechailas. Yechailas is probability within Atzmos. Over there, it's not two separate things. The potentiality, the probability for this, and the opposite are all one nekuda. But here he's saying there's a difference between them. And yet you say it's Eir, and the Eir is Ein Soif. And the Alter Rebbe writes that Eir Ein Soif means that the Eir itself is Ein Soif. Not that just it comes from Ein Sof. So this was the main point that he brought out, that this is the whole Chiddush of Eir. The whole Chiddush of Eir is this paradox. That on one hand, light, its entire identity is that it illuminates something, its source, that's what its inyan is, and yet it's not its source. It's the light that illuminates its source. Oir is a metzius that you don't call it the Moir, you call it the Oir, you call it the Ha'ara. And because of this paradox in Oir, this is the Indian in Oir. Huh? And that's why you could say in the Oir, Lamata Mata Adin Tachlis, and Lamai Lamai Adin Ketz. Those are the oisius, more or less the oisius of the Maamar, with a little more elaboration. So now he actually starts explaining the Inyan itself. So we'll go weiter, Siv Gimel now. He explains in the Maamar the Mash Oirin Seif Lamai Lamai Ladin Ketz, who Oir Hanelem V'Hasosum She'enei Begede Gili V'Hamshacha. Based on this explanation, now this is right to the quote. You see, this is in quotes because he explains every line. When it says that Oirin Seif is Lamai Lamai Ladin Ketz, what is he talking about? He's talking about Oir Hanelem V'Hasosum, literally a concealed light. Nela means concealed, hidden. Sasam means also plugged, completely hidden. It's not in the realm of revelation and communication. Not only that, because it's not begeder gilui, it's not like after many stages of evolution, it's going to be revealed. It's never going to come into the oilamus begeder gilui in a way of revelation. K'maimer, like it says in Zohar, this is the introduction to the Kunei Zohar, known as Pasach Eliyahu. Antu ilal kol iloyin sesima kol sesima. You are above everything that's above. Stima, concealed, plugged, hidden, above everything that's hidden. What do you mean? What do you mean? How can you be more hidden than hidden? If it's hidden, it's hidden. The answer is show sosam be'etzem. As he's going to explain, there's two types of hidden. There's hidden, which is a prep for revelation. It's hidden now. And then there's sosam be'etzem. It's essentially sosam. It's essentially hidden. So this is the lamai adin ketz, the the element in the that we call sosam be'etzem. So it's lamaila, goes up, means up in concealment, deeper into the essence and concealment, adin ketz, to no end. When you say lamata adin tachlis in the this is the element of that is in the realm of revelation, at least, even if it's not revealed. It's relatable to all of the universes, to all of reality. In very general terms, the way you can define it is in his atzmos, in his essence, it's called revealed. It's a type of inside of him. It's something, so to speak, in the essence that is called light, which means revelation, light reveals. So it's gilui be'atzmos. I know this is very, very abstract and difficult terms. I told you last year that this is not an easy maimon, but you have to stay with it. Pirush, the batzmusay gufa, this is all quoting the maimon of the Rebbe Rayatz, this whole paragraph. Pirush, the batzmusay gufa, b'bchinas gilui ba'atzma kavayach. In his atzmus itself, you can call it gilui kavayach. In other words, even though you're talking about the Ein Sof, which the Ein itself is Ein Sof, inside his atzmus, this is something you can call gilui ba'atzma kavayach. After the brackets, just go over the brackets. Mashenke mashalamai lamai ladin ketz hu shagam ba'atzmusay ene b'bchinas gilui elishu sasam v'nelam. Lamai lamai ladin ketz is the that even in his essence it's not called gilui. Over there also it's called sasam v'nelam, which means completely concealed. So this is in this is what he's saying. That in Sof lamai ladin ketz is not talking about the word, it's talking about the itself. And in the itself, you talk about lamata adin tachlis and lamai ladin ketz in the What's prat in the itself, the of Ein Sof, the which is Ein Sof, this is Hashem's So that's what he's saying, that one element is, it's b'chlal not begeder gilui. It's not even in the realm of what we call revelation. But you're calling it so it's funny. He's saying it's all in right? So it's called and is light. So he's saying, but it's not. It's sasam be'etzem. It's never ever going to be revealed. And then there's another element. It's still high. It's still very, very high. It's not. This is all before what we call before the tzimtzum and everything. But in his atzmus, it's begeder gilui. This highlights very much how paradoxical this whole issue is. You're calling it The word means light. So you say, oh, no, sorry. So don't call it Oir, I have no problem. So you see, this was the tension that the Maamar is addressing here. You want to say that Hashem can do everything? Okay, I have no problem. She'll say Hashem can do everything. Fine, he can disseminate light, he can disseminate darkness, he can reveal himself, he can conceal himself. That's Yechaylis. But he said that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Oir. In Yechaylis, everything is one. The yes and the not, the positive, the negative, the finite, the infinite, it's all one. Why is it one? Because it's neither. It's neither. It's just the infinite essence that has every possible probability. And that every possible probability, you don't go through every probability as a separate thing, right? Even in a person. You don't say, I could write Aleph, I can write Beis, I can write Gimel. The ability to write Aleph, Beis, and Gimel, the ability to write. That's even in more limited terms. And here, you're saying, no, there's two madregas in Oir, and there's a big difference between them. That was the tension he explained. So he comes in and says, this is the whole union of Oir. So what's the whole union of Oir? That in the whole union of Oir, which is not Atzmos, not Yechaylis, it's called the Oir that comes from the Moyer. There's these two inyanim, L'mayla den Ketz, L'mata den Tachlis. One is that it's Begeder Gili at least. With others, within himself, it's called Oir Begeder Gili. And one is, it's also called Oir, but it's Sassim Be'etzim. And that's L'mayla den Ketz in the Oir itself. So, right. The first, the big question, of course, is you call it light, and then you say it's something that's never going to be revealed. So what is it there for? It's there to tell me that there's light that's never going to be revealed. So you want to tell me that there's a part of God that nobody's ever going to know, and there's no shaykhs to it. So why are you calling it? So you don't have to talk about it. Number one, and then tell me what it is, and then you say that that's part of Oir, that's part of Gilui. Like, it's that's the real difficulty here. That's why you have to understand all these words as code languages. They're code languages. People, when they learn this, they get stuck in words and levels, and they start defining the levels. They're not understanding that lahavdil, and not to compare, but lahavdil, those who know anything about, I don't, but those who know a little bit of physics and mathematics know that physics uses the language of mathematics, but physics is not mathematics. Physics is actually the universe, the chemistry of the universe. They need a language, and the regular words don't work. Just like poetry serves a purpose where words fail. Music serves a purpose where even poetry fails. And silence serves a purpose where even music fails. Right? So you need different languages. So physics employs the language of mathematics. That's how it is. They use what's called mathematical equations. But if you get stuck in the mathematical equations, that's not what it is. Yeah. So, Lahavdil, Chassidus employed the language of Kabbalah. It has names. There's something called Oir, there's something called Atzmus, there's something called Yechaylis, there's something called Tzimtzum, there's something called Sasim, there's something called Gilui. So these are the words, and the words are expressing something. But the greatest error is when the words become words and not appreciating that every word is really just like almost a code word. It's like a code. You know, when you say a code, the code itself, it's just a code. It's like when you have a code on a lock or a code on a computer, the code is not, oh, I have the code, I have the computer. No. You don't have the code, you don't have the computer. The code allows you to go into the files. Now you have to study the files. So these are all code words that are trying to evoke a deeper awareness, a deeper understanding. I'm just saying this as Hagdam, it's very important to understand this. Not to, yeah. Now, so,
is there any purpose in this paragraph? Is there any purpose in this paragraph?
Much more than that. The whole purpose.
So it's like, we know that if there is such a concept as light, so there's going to be something revealed, because that's what it's.
That's a good question. If you're calling it light, it means something is being revealed, right? That's what light is. Or can be revealed, or there's something that's being emitted through the light. If not, don't call it light. Light by definition means that it's carrying a message from one space to another space. However you want to get into define it in the details, but that's what light is. So now you're telling me, no, that in the Ohr, there's something that's sasum be'etzem, not concealed because you're not ready for it, or it's going to take another 1,000 years, or it has to still come down in filters. That's not what you're saying. You're saying it's sasum be'etzem. So stop calling it light. You're calling it Ohr. And what's the purpose of it anyway? If it's something that nobody's ever going to have a shaykhis to, so it's the same question really. So why are you calling it light? Why is it even there? Why did Hashem create it? And if it's just part of Him, so then it's not Ohr, it's Him, it's Atzmos. So back to Atzmos. So this is really right, bringing us back to the theme that we discussed yesterday, which was the introduction to this. And that is the whole chiddush of the Alter Rebbe, what the inyan of Ohr is. Yeah. And what was the main point? That Ohr is the Ohr itself is this paradox. Because when you're saying the L'mayla de Kes Lamata de Tachlis is a big difference between them, he also said it's in one space. So that itself is a paradox. If it's in one space, so it's not a difference. Elamite is a big difference between them and it's one space. So that itself denotes the whole issue of what we're talking about. In other words, what we're struggling with is the whole chiddush. It's not stam a question that's going to bring you to an answer. The question is highlighting what the explanation is. What's the Alter Rebbe's chiddush in Ohr? So we explained in last year, the main point was that Ohr, by definition, means that it's transmitting something. It's transporting information from one space, from one source. It's revealing the source into another space. Like when I see you, so the light allows me to see you. So it allows you to be perceived by me. It allows me to perceive that which is in the room or that which is in the world. The light of the sun or the light of the moon or anything that emits light. I mean, everything emits light, but let's talk about the light of the sun because that's the most basic source of light that we all experience and enjoy and appreciate. That light allows us to be able not only to see the sun, but also to be able to see reality. So whenever you talk about Ohr, Ohr means the ability to perceive reality. That's the definition of Ohr. In physical light, we know that Ohr, you spoke about this at the end of the shir, right? Ohr at least has two dimensions. Number one, what's called the photons, which is the actual message that it reveals. It's actually, it shows me something. It shows me you, it shows me the sun, it shows me the moon, it shows me the mountain, it shows me the squirrel, it shows me the house. That's one element of Ohr. It's called the particle. Ohr is also the wave. What do we mean by the wave? The wave is that Ohr's inyan is to transmit. That's its inyan. It doesn't have its own ego. It transmits, and then it transmits something from its source. Yeah. Yeah. So Ohr is the language of communication. Or as we said, Ohr is the relational field. If there's no relation, there's no Ohr. Ohr means relation. I want a relationship with you. That's what Ohr is. Ohr is light. You should be able to perceive me. Why? Why do I want you to perceive me? I just want me to be self-contained. So Ohr is the idea that I want to be connected. Connection. Ohr is the ultimate language of attachment, of relationships. So why you call it Ohr? Say relationships. Okay. Because it's more than the word relationships. That's Ohr. So what's Ohr Ein Sof? Ohr Ein Sof is the relationship with Ein Sof. So Ohr is that something. Etzem is the reality of it in and of itself, in its full purity, in its full essence. Ohr, by definition, is already a relation. There's connection. There is connection. That's what Ohr is. If I don't care about connection, then take out the word light. If Hashem wouldn't create the concept of Ohr, it would mean that a thing exists in and of itself, but nobody knows about it. In other words, nobody has a connection to it. Not physical, not emotional, not spiritual, not intellectual. Ohr allows you to be experienced, to be perceived. Yeah, that's Ohr.
Think about light the way we see, it works this way. All we see is light. But really, we don't see any of it. All I see is what it's bouncing off.
Right.
Really, all I see is you.
That's exactly.
All I'm really seeing is the light,
Yeah.
which I don't see.
Yeah. I'm looking at you, right? I don't see you. I see light.
All you're seeing is the light. But really, you're not the language of the light.
Yeah. All we really see is light, but I don't see light. I see you. How does that happen? But I really don't see you. I see light, right? We look at the sun, yeah? 8 minutes ago, right? It took 8 minutes for the light to communicate. It took 8 minutes for the light to travel from the sun to here. We don't even realize it. I'm seeing the sun. No, I see the sun right now. No. That's the chiddush of light. It's so bottle. Its whole agenda is, I don't exist. What exists? My source. I'm here to reveal my source. That's my whole identity. My entire identity is, I have no identity outside of revealing my source. So what are you seeing? You're not seeing me, you're seeing my source. It's a channel. Light is egoless. Light is egoless, that's what it is. It's pointing to the source. I want you should be able to see the source. But I want you should be able to see it. Not that the source lives in itself. So on one hand, Oir is not the Moyer. It's not the source. It's transporting it. It's allowing me to perceive it. And here there's billions and billions of levels, how much I could perceive, the depth that I could perceive, etc., where I am in my own existence that I should be able to receive, and how much I could. But essentially, what's the nekuda? To be megala, to reveal the Moyer, the source. So l'chayr, it's not the Moyer. On the other hand, mitzad the bittul of Oir to the Moyer, like we gave the example of shlichus. What's the idea of a shliach? Shluchish ladam kamaisi. On one hand, a shliach is a separate person. If you say, I want to make you a shliach, but I want you to stay right near me, then I don't need a shliach, have me. The whole idea of a shliach is you send him where you're not. That's the power of it. And yet, shluchish ladam kamaisi. That person is you, lahalacha. There's different levels of shlichus, but that's the nekuda. So on one hand, it's like light, it travels. The shliach has to travel. In the source, it's you, I don't need a shliach. The whole idea of shlichus is to go where a place where the mishaleach is not. Practically in halacha. So he's going to a different place. In other words, he's not the mishaleach. In fact, the shliach can be a robot. In the halachas of shlichus, if the shliach is completely not doesn't even have his own das, it's not a gather of shlichus. So on one hand, there is independence. He has his own mind and his own heart and his own... And yet, all of that becomes what? A shliach of the mishalech, to channel the mishalech. So the Rebbe's chiddush is in Oir, that what Arizal meant in Oir, this is the chiddush of Oir. That mitzvah the bittul of Oir, Oir me'ein hamoyer, the Oir can capture everything of atzmos in the Oir, even though by definition, Oir is not the moyer. Nonetheless, because of the bittul of Oir to the moyer, so therefore Oir me'ein hamoyer, the Oir can embody and so to speak manifest all the properties, and we can't use the word properties because it's beyond properties. The pure infinity of atzmos becomes Oir itself, and that's why it's Oir Ein Sof. The Oir itself is Ein Sof. And that's the paradox of Oir. Or if you want to use the language of physics, just as a mashal simply, Oir is not only a wave. It's not only a wave. It's not only that I don't exist. Oir is, I'm transferring something. There's a message that Oir is transferring.
So Oir itself is basically transmitting the essence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Yeah.
So in a way, in order for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to be, like he said, what she said, all in, without light is impossible. All in means all in. All in means all in. There will be a knowledge spread. In order to say spread or given or revealed or whatever, it has to be light. It has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be means.
Yeah.
So in a way,
Yeah.
its essence is
Yeah. Yeah. So now I want you to understand the code language here. What do you need the word Oir? Just say Hashem wants a relationship with me. Atzmos could do what he wants. If he wants a relationship, he wants a relationship. That's where it's so edel. The question is, how serious is the relationship? Right? That's what you were saying. Is he all in? He could be all in anything, but what all in what? All in his agenda or in my agenda? All in, you're atzmos. I mean, you're infinite, you're Ein Sof. With that, Dafka saying it's not atzmos, it's Oir. Why? What's stam? What's semantics? Like, so you invented a new word, light. Fine. Don't call it the essence, call it light. Who cares? Like, you can argue the essence. No, it's the light. It's not Yecholos, it's Oir. It's a whole pilpul. It's not Yecholos, it's Oir. Because Yecholos is an atzmos, and this is not Yecholos. And if it is Yecholos, what's going to happen? But now you understand the word. Yecholos is about him. Oir is about me. Verstehst? Of course he can do what he wants. He can have a relationship with a squirrel. He can have a relationship with a grain of sand. He can want to dir b'tachton, the grain of sand, and say that's it. The grain of sand is the purpose of everything. And I'm not going to ask questions because I didn't invent logic and I'm not God and it's above my pay grade. There's no problem with that. Yechaylos, of course, it's infinite and unlimited. There's no need for any constructs. There's no need for any maimarim. There's a need to tell people to go out of their seichel. Yeah, fine, which is a big step. Okay. Stop telling God he doesn't play dice with the universe. He does play dice with the universe. You know what dice is. You know what universe is. You know what God is. We create philosophical constructs and then we force him into it and we say, it doesn't make sense to me. Shikayach. Huh? Yeah. And you do make sense to you. And your mind does make sense. I once heard from my brother, it was a cute story. He says he was a professor. So he was teaching philosophy. Doctorate students, very, very evolved students in philosophy. And after years and years and years, he announced there's going to be a final exam. A final exam, everybody prepared for months. This is going to be, they thought maybe like 400 questions. They come to the test, it's one question. And the question is one word. And the word was why. Why? That's the question. 10 years philosophy. Why? That's it. So everybody, they took all their studies and they started to write. Everybody wrote an essay, a book, chapters and chapters. Why? Everybody failed. Everybody failed. 2 students passed. One got an A and one got an A+. The one who got an A wrote one word. Why? Because. He got an A. The one who got an A+, he wrote why? Why not? That was it. Everybody else failed. Yeah. What's the difference? Why? Because. There's a why, because. But he's still in the world of why, right? Why? Because. You didn't tell me why what. I won't tell you because what. The second one got it. Why? Why not? Right? The whole foundation of using.
Was not yours, the second.
Yeah, very good. Very good. That's a third question. Why are you even asking about the why, right? Rabbi Moshe. So what's the vart here? Yeah. You could say everything is l'mayla menasech. We have no problem with that. That's what he's muching zech. People, it's not a mathematical pilpul if oid is yechaylos or not. It's a code language. Yechaylos is about him. He's capable of everything. I know. I don't even know what I said, because when I say he's capable, I'm saying he, capable, everything. I already put 3 categories. He's capable of everything. It's already, I'm only defining it in terms of human finite terms. In the Lashon of Chassidus is, Ein Sof is Shlilas HaGvul, it's Shlilas HaBli Gvul. You don't call him finite, you also don't call him infinite. Umemele yesh behakol. Shlilas hagvul, shlilas habli gvul, shlilas hachiyuv, shlilas hashlila. Don't say he is, and don't say he's not, and therefore don't say he is. Even saying he is as flawed as saying he's not.
But there is something. The minute you say he,
I know, but when we say is something, right away there's a sun, there's a moon, there's a computer, and there's him.
well, at least you can recognize.
I get it. Of course, I get it. That's all when we're talking about Yechaylos. The Chiddush of Oid is the relational field. Yeah. It's the way the Yechaylos is manifested in light. What's Pshat light? Why are you calling it light? Light is not potential. Because light already represents the fact that there is a perception of me by the other. Or at least the potentiality for a perception of me by the other. Or means I want to connect. Okay, you want to connect. Well, what do you want to connect with? You want to connect with something that's finite, something that's limited. So the relationship is very, very limited. Comes Dal to Rebbe and says the Oid itself is Ein Sof. What's the Oid itself is Ein Sof? Oid is not Ein Sof. Oid, you could say, comes from the Ein Sof. That's the Chiddush, that mitzad, the bittul of Oid, that the whole mitzias of Oid is just to channel the Moyer, the Atzmos, so therefore Oid itself could be called Ein Sof like Atzmos. And what's Pshat Ein Sof? It has no G'darim and no Toyarim, not even the Toyar of Oid, not even the definition of light. So, b'meila, in light, you have not only the lamata adin tachlis, which is light aspect of light. In light, you also have the aspect of lamayla adin ketz, which is the atmos element of light, which is be'etzem, completely inaccessible. And that's also in the light. Now, if you don't hear the words, if you hear the energy behind this, this is revolutionary. So you want to know if this chapter, if this paragraph said anything, because it just looks like abstract. It's saying everything.
With this saying, it makes sense. Without this, it makes no sense. This is how it makes sense.
Explain.
Without this, we wouldn't have who to talk about. We wouldn't have what to say. He. Where
Yeah.
this gives us the gedarim to talk about even this awesome.
Yeah. That's the word. That the oir is we call it oir. Of course you could say he's sasam be'etzem and there's no gilui and there's no shaykhis and there's no accessibility and stop talking about it and stop making yourself crazy and just do what you have to do and just stop bothering anybody. That's not the oitzer. The chiddush of the oitzer, and this is negated in the Nitzachon of the Milchama, is how profoundly, I'm going to quote Moshe again yesterday, that he's all in. What says he's all in? Atzmus is in. And in what? Not in his own orbit. Fine, I don't know, fine. That's not the Vart. The Vart of the Eitzir is in the relationship, the relational field, the connection, the attachment. The Atzmius, the essence of Hashem is invested in the Atzmus, in the connection, in the relationship. B'meila, in the Oir, you don't only have that which you could call Oir, which is Begeder Gilui, you also have in the Oir that which is Begeder Sasam. What's Sasam? Sasam is Atzmos. My Oilam Yavi Begeder Gilui, that's Shaykh to the Oilamas. So why are you talking about, so why are you calling it Oir? But that's the whole, that Oir captures that too. Oir transmits to you. Oir gives me that too. What do you mean? How are you giving that to me? You just said you can't give it to me. It's not revealed. So this is exactly the whole tension here. On one hand, you're saying the Ma'at Island Tachlis is in one space, in Ur. When I say one space, I don't mean in a physical space. Again, Makam is another word. But I don't mean a physical space. That means it's in every Nakud of Ur.
Physical space is also constructed.
You're right. You're right. Even physical space is not physical space. You're right.
But it's a construct of, in a way, it's like he's saying something maybe revolutionary even for physics, because the Mokum.
He got there. He gets there. First he says, I don't know this. I don't see this saying anything, and suddenly he said it's a revolution in physics. I like that. 10 minutes later.
No, because Mokum, if you think about Mokum, space, right? If you will ask for a space definition.
But it's great. You see how a person evolves? First, like, you just didn't say anything. Suddenly, he had Chiyas HaMesim, resurrection. I could watch it. I saw him coming from resurrection. And then I said the whole physics was just revolutionized. So let's say the revolution of physics, which I won't understand what you're saying anyway, but okay.
If you look at the fabric of space, there is nothing out there in the universe of what we call space, which is void from some kind of energy field. And when you're talking about energy field, you're talking about automatically light, because it's interconnected, it's revealed, it's relational, it's communicative. All this property that you were just talking about is there, and it's already in the fabric of space. Not only space, it's time as well. So what he's saying is here is so deep in a way that if the entire essence is or, it's like that's the in a way that you can. I don't know if we can speak about Atzmus itself, right? But what it reveals about Atzmus? It's that it's connected. It's influential. It's you can derive the entire universe from there.
Yeah.
Right? And not only seeing, without it, it's just impossibility to even talk about it.
Yeah.
Ability to even express anything without oil is not even a startup.
Yeah. Yeah. Oir means Oir, the way the Alter Rebbe explains Oir is that everything was put into it. Everything. Even that which can't be put into it was also put into it. So what do you mean? Is that just a semantic question? So he says, no, that's the whole vort of Oir. How does that work? That's the bittul of Oir, mitzad bittul. If Oir had a mitzias, so mitzias can channel that which mitzias allows itself to be channeled. If Oir had any mitzias, what's mitzias? I don't mean ego like ego. I'm talking about Hashem, the Oir of Hashem. But if it had any form of mitzias, in other words, if light said, I am his light, you're done. Then you channel what your constructs can channel. Everybody has their kalim, their vessels. You have a cup of 8 ounces, fine, you could fill. You could give me 8 ounces of water, I have no problem. 12 ounces, 12 ounces. A gallon is a gallon. In spirituality, you have a bigger keli, right? You have a gallon, so you give me a gallon of information.
That's why probably it has to be nailed. It has to be.
But mitzah, the bittul of Oir, I told you, the Alter Rebbe wrote this literally a few days before his istalkus. Mamish, a few days. He literally wrote this nekuda about Oir. And with this, he explained the whole chiddush of the Arizal over the Ramak. And by the way, that's why the Ramak, stam parentheses, for those who are into it, the Ramak did not speak about Tzimtzum. The Arizal was the first one to speak about Tzimtzum. The expression in Chabad Chassidus is, Haramak zal lo yoda me'inyan ha-tzimtzum. Rabbeinu Moshe Kardevero lo yoda me'inyan ha-tzimtzum. So I know about Tzimtzum, the Ramak didn't know about Tzimtzum. It's a joke. We talk about Tzimtzum, the Ramak didn't know. But the Arizal, the student of the Ramak, he was Megala Tzimtzum. Tzimtzum is a gili of the Arizal. It's all connected. Because by the Ramak, he said, you're not allowed to say the Oir is Ein Sof. There's no such a thing. Oir is a property that comes from God, but that's it. From God is not God. And don't confuse the two. It's big, it's amazing, it's incredible, it's infinite, but it's from. It's Oir from Ein Sof. Light of the sun is from the sun, it's not the sun. There's source and there's light. Light may be the first thing that source creates, so it has something very special. You know, it's the first generation, right? The child of Adam Arishan had a different relationship with God than Adam Arishan had a different relationship with God than us, because we are 5,000 years, 5,786 years. The first generation is a big thing. You know, you saw what it was like on the other side. But there is source. And since there's source, so therefore the Ramak doesn't go into Tzimtzum. The Chiddush of the Arizal, the way the Alter Rebbe understands, is that the Oir itself is Ein Sof. The Oir itself is Ein Sof. So here there's an inyan of Tzimtzum. In Oir there was an inyan of Tzimtzum. Once you appreciate what Oir is. So it's not that Ramak didn't know about Tzimtzum because he couldn't, like, the whole Yashkafas Olam of the Ramak. There's source and then there's what's created from source. Yeah. So from an encyclopedic structural level, that makes more sense. Why? Because it puts God into God. Let God be God. And now let's start from there. The Oitzeris, part of the Oitzeris, the Gili of the Arizal, and then the Baal Shem Tov, the Alter Rebbe, and then that's the Oitzer. What's the Oitzer? The Oitzer is that which is inaccessible, source itself. Ultimately, do I have source or no? You have to have humility. And the truth is, you can't come to the second step without the first step, because if you come to without the first step, there's an arrogance there. But ultimately, it's all in. Ultimately, the relationship is in the deepest place that nobody could even conceive how deep the relationship is. That's why the Baal Shem Tov, that's why by the Baal Shem Tov, the nekud of everything was the connection, the love, the ava, the oneness. That's everything. I saw yesterday a sikha from the Farbrengen Rebbe, the Rebbe Rayatz. I was on a plane and I was reading it, and I was. He says, I have to remember the lashon, Tovshin Vav, 1946. So a few years before this, it was. I don't remember the date. He was talking to the Monsey. He says that he heard from his father. As Atzmus hat, they're just the words I have to say it. Atzmus hat geschworen. As wird nicht nisgale werden zu a maskil, nor zu avoide. Atzmus took an oath. Atzmus means God took an oath, just the word, at Geshvan. He's not going to be revealed to a maskil, to someone who is a philosopher in Chassidus, only to avoid, only in avoid, only somebody who's implementing it in their body, in their nervous system, in their animal soul, in their daily life. At Geshvoiden, he swore. Whoa. But that's really the Nakuda. In other words, Atzmus means I'm all in. If you're not reciprocating on that level, if you're not all in, it's not like I'm going to take revenge. Oh, you're not doing this, I'm not giving myself to you. It's not Geshvoiden because I want to punish you. It's be'etzem what it is. If you're not an avoid, if you're not all in, if it's just another mind game, even if it's an inspiring mind game, this whole thing, it's not Atzmus anymore. You missed everything. It's all relation. That's the chiddush of Ohr, and that the Ohr has everything. The Ohr itself is Ein Sof. And the truth is, it's torturous without it. When the Alter Rebbe said, the Alter Rebbe used to say in the middle of davening, the Tzemach Tzedek says, so he writes it in a Maamar, and he saw it. It's not a place that my grandfather, in the middle of davening, would go into a dveikus, and he would say, B'zeh haloshen in Yiddish. We always say it. Mili b'shamayim imchalei chafatzti baretz, ich will nicht dein Olam haze, ich will nicht dein Olam haba. Ich will nicht dein Gan Eden atachten, ich will nicht dein Gan Eden alien, ich will Mensch, das dich allein. What? I don't want anything. I want only you. The only reason he could say that is because he felt that Hashem was saying that to him. If the Alter Rebbe for a moment would not think Hashem is saying that to him, it's not. It doesn't work that way. I don't want your Elam Haz. I want your Elam Haz because I want only you. Because he felt it was the other way around. I want only you. That's the Vart here. That's why it's the Oitzer. That's why this is what's negaya to the victory. The end victory, when there's crazy darkness, requires a relationship that is deeper than any other relationship. And a relationship that can work even in the greatest darkness. And the whole Nakuda here is going to be that this element of Ohr, L'mayla Adin Ketz, I'm giving a sneak preview, comes out in those areas in life where you feel completely detached. I want you to understand this. Where you feel abandoned, yeah. In many ways, this most abstract chapter is probably one of the most emotional things you'll ever hear in your life. I'm telling you. That's how it works with Chassidus. In your most abandoned space, what does abandonment mean? There's no connection anymore, right? When there's even a little flow, there's a trickle of water, something is coming. What's abandonment? You're thrown off a cliff. There's nothing. Finished. Kaput. The umbilical cord was severed. La'olam vad. What does he say here? La'olam layavi beget gili la'olamus. It's never going to be revealed. Where does that part come out? It never comes out through revelation. It can't come out through revelation. Where does it come out? In the experience, in the perceived experience of abandonment. That's what heals. That's what heals a generation. That's what heals the world.
In a way, it's a healing for the Ramak's view, because if they're a bunch of
very good,
symptom, and then lose book himself.
Beautiful. Of course, it heals the tzimtzum. It heals everything. In the ultimate healing, everything is healed. Everybody is redeemed. It's not like my team won color war. The blue team won. The red team won. Of course. And real abandonment is not just Hashem is not all in. He's not in at all. He's like, he hates me. Exactly. I'm the black sheep in the family, you know. And there seems to be like a lot of black sheep in the family, but I'm certainly one of them. And my mother never wanted me. My father never wanted me. They even told me it was a mistake that they had me, you know, when kids hear that. So at the core, there's a sense of abandonment. And never mind if life confirmed the abandonment. How did life confirm it? Because of experiences. So listen, it's very hard to speak about this intellectually, because tell this to somebody who's experiencing abandonment, like, oh, because the Ohr is Me'ein HaMoyer. And because the Ohr is Me'ein HaMoyer, so the Ohr also has in it that which is Atzmos. And like, thank you. Thank you, my dearest. You know, go give your lecture somewhere else. I'm in pain, I'm suffering, I don't want to live, like whatever. That's why I'm saying the bridge between this and real life, it's very, very important to understand that the words are all code languages. Right? It's literally lahavda like music sheets. I told you, you look at music sheets, right? If you don't know music, what do you just see? You see black shapes and lines.
Little photos without knowing what they
Yeah. And then suddenly you have a great musician takes a look at the music sheet and starts smiling. And then he starts making with his hand. And then he goes into ecstasy and asks Klai never that. I'm a sugar. No, he just saw what's happening. Right? One person, atzmos, yicholos, oir, ein soif, lamai, I don't know what you want from me. Like what? Another words. It's hard enough to learn Gemara, and I'm going to learn this Kabbalah also. If you see the music in it, you start dancing internally. So it's very important to appreciate the bridge between Haskala and Avodah. That's why I'm saying, atzmos hat geschworen, that he's not going to be revealed to a maskil, only to an ovid. What's pshat atzmos hat geschworen? The moment you keep these things as ideas, you're failing everything. It's a betrayal of everything. He says in the Sikha that he says there that he heard from his father, who heard from his father Rebbe Marash, who heard from the Tzemach Tzedek, who said that the Mittler Rebbe said that. He said it's hard to say, but for learning Chassidus without Avodah, without working on it, without davening with it, kriegt men von Taten a schnelle Nose. For my father, the Alter Rebbe, it gives a flick in the nose, and it's ki'ilu maimed tzelem behechel. It's like bringing a tzelem into the hechel. Now, those are very serious words. What does that mean? Bringing a tzelem into the hechel. Now, bringing a tzelem not into the hechel is not. It's pretty bad, but at least you let the Beis Hamikdash be a Beis Hamikdash. I'm taking a tzelem somewhere else. Bringing a tzelem in the hechel is you're going into the Kodesh HaKadoshim and you're bringing a tzelem there. So this is what he writes, that the Mittler Rebbe said about his father, Alter Rebbe, that to learn Chassidus without Avodah is maimed tzelem behechel. You're taking a tzelem and you bring it. Let the Kodesh HaKadoshim be. Don't bother it. Don't go there. Don't learn about these things. I'm fine. Learn other things. But you're learning about this without not going in with your heart. This is already like a desecration. It's like you're inviting Atzmos to intimacy, and then you're on your phone. It's like you go into a chuppah, the kala is waiting, Hariyat Mekadeshes, I have a text. Don't go to the chuppah, go read your text, I have no problem. So this is all based on this Nakuda.
You want to know why the Maamar maybe don't learn more Chassidus, maybe?
Very good. Good limud schus. Huh? That's not the vort. The vort is not that you shouldn't learn. That's not an eitzah. It's not an eitzah. The eitzah is to understand what's invested here. What's invested is etzem hanefesh. That sometimes also creates the appetite. Now, we usually don't go there because it's hard to go there, because there's too much at stake. If I have walls, life is much safer. My relations are limited. I won't give everything, but I also won't lose everything. If you don't give everything, you don't lose everything. If I put all my money into one stock, all the eggs in one basket, you can lose everything. So we have learned early on, don't put all the eggs in one basket, and in business it's a good idea. Don't give everything, because then you could lose everything. The person betrays you, what are you left with? Nothing. And this is what the Baal Shem Tov and Alter Rebbe realized is the worst form of galus. There's no healing without this, because we remain fragmented and broken and torturous. So when he said, I don't want your Elam Haba, I want you, I'm giving everything. The only way he can do it is if there's a response, because Hashem speaks that way. Huh? Yeah. Yes. So what's the vart? So you're Teves now than Inyan. Teves, I don't know the word Teves. But that's the Chiddush of Ohr. That's what he's saying here with Ohr. That Yecholos has everything concealed. I have no issue. Atzmos, okay, Atzmos is Atzmos. The vart is that it's all in Ohr. In the relational field, in the relational frequency, you have not only that which is potentially revealed, the ray, that which could be communicated through Gilu. Because remember, just like Atzmos could be concealed, it could be revealed. Just like God could be infinite, it can be finite. Just like God can teach a genius, he can also teach a 2-year-old. God has no problem with that. Atzmos has no problem with that. The word God doesn't work in these Maamarim. You need Atzmos. Because God is just another Maisala. Yeah. That's not the word. The word is that in Ohr, this L'maila and Ketz is in Ohr, even in Ohr itself. What's Ohr? Ohr is Gilui. So the Gilui of Ein Sof, which is Ein Sof, has in it also that which is not Gilui. So we'll stop calling it Ohr. Stop making me Meshuggah. Don't call it Ohr. No, that's the Chiddush of Alter Rebbe in Ohr. That mitzvah, the bittul of Ohr to the Moyer. What's the bittul? The bittul is it has no mitzias. So b'meila, it can access and embody and channel and manifest in Ohr that which is l'mayla adin ketz. What's l'mayla adin ketz? That which is not shayich to Gilui. In other words, Atzmos itself. Where does that come out? So that's what I said before. That's going to come out later in the Maamar, in that which seems completely disconnected. That where you're connected, that connects you to Lamata Adin Tachlis. That connects you to the Ohr that's channeling flow. There's flow. There's elements in life where you feel flow. There's elements in life, there's no flow. Everything is interrupted. Boom! You're on your own. Are you on your own? That's L'mayla Adin Ketz. That's where the Ohr is channeling that which is not Begeder Gilui. So how does it come out? Not in a revealed way. And in that sense, but what is there? In that abandonment, is everything. You have everything. You can't really talk about it. It's more experiential. But there's moments in a person's spiritual journey, emotional journey, healing journey, where you're left with nothing. You're literally left with nothing. And the pain of that is indescribable. Because you're literally left with nothing. It's like everything you held on to is taken away from you. And what happens then? And what happens then is you touch, or at least you're open to touch Oirin Sof L'mayla Adin Ketz. And I don't mean the words Oirin Sof L'mayla Adin Ketz, because I don't know if a person starts feeling, oh, I just touched Oirin Sof L'mayla Adin Ketz. I'm talking a frequency. I know the word frequency is a cute word, but you get what I'm saying. I don't have a better word. You touch the frequency of Atzmos, but not the Atzmos that could be communicated through communication, which means I could say, Geschmack, I got it, thank you for the message. Rather, it's the message in which, I'll say it in more concrete terms, what you discover at that moment is that you are Atzmos. You are the flow. You were waiting for a flow. You were waiting for connection. You are the source of the connection. You are the source of the connection. Ah, wow. My whole life I thought I'm just a recipient. So now you cut the flow. I'm nothing. I was thrown off a cliff. What do you realize? You are Atzmos. You are the flow. You create the flow. Just now it goes upward instead of downward. Rabbi Avram HaMalach, they say Avram HaMalach was one of the big tzaddikim. There was a fire in the house, and everything got burned, and the mother was sobbing. So he says, well, we're Adam Light. We had nothing in the house. Was weinst? What are you crying about? So she says, we had a Megillas Yuchsin, a family tree, that goes back generations. He said, don't worry, we'll have a new one that starts with me. What's pshat? If you're Atzmos, you are the flow. You're the source. It's like I'm waiting. Who could you give me something? It's all there. It's you. It's in you. So now it starts the other way. Now it goes upward instead of downward. You understand? I was waiting for it to come down. The waterfall should come down from heaven to earth. And now, no, you're the waterfall. Heaven is waiting for you. Because remember, goes both ways. When you have light, it travels, and it's going to see Yasher, Chayzer. Right? Light doesn't only go one way. It's not just we're all recipients. God says, okay, here. It goes both ways, comes back. The shliach goes back. The shliach doesn't just go one way. The shliach goes back to the mishaleach. There's something that goes back.
But you can't return something that isn't yours.
Exactly. How does it become yours? If I'm just giving you back what you gave me, so fine, Hashavas Haveda. Call it Hashavas Haveda. That's not relationship. Yeah. And this itself is called Oir. Why? Because it's ultimately something that Hashem wants you to experience, not him to experience. And that's why the relationship is real. That's the ultimate question of history. Is the relationship real? Or it's just some construct of philosophy or religion to make people feel better? And that's why some of the very, very intelligent people became atheists. Why? Because after they realized that at the end of the day, like I'm not talking about atheists l'tei oven or out of anger, which I understand. I'm talking here about, it's like, after you go through all the facades and all the institutionalized religion and all the things and all the feel good, like if I need real authenticity, what am I holding on to? And it's not a simple question to answer.
All that knowledge making detached.
The more knowledge, the more detached, the more cynical. Yeah, the more cynical you become, existential and modernity, and then there's post-modernity, and you break everything apart, and what are you left with? You make fun of every institution, and there's what to make fun of. Every cult, every brainwashing session, every person who's throwing down information down kids' throats. They don't know what they're talking about. The kids don't know what they're talking about. The main thing is the system works. And then, but deep down, the sensitive, real deep, sensitive spiritual souls, if you speak to them, they're feeling something. And that for that, the only way you heal that is through the Eitzer. Without the Eitzer, without this truth, not in words, but in experience, you can't heal that. Because this need to go to a place of real atzmius. Yeah. And ultimately, it's all one nekuda in Oir. It's not Oir has good days. That's the hope. Everything is here paradox. The world of paradox in atzmos could be transported into Oir. But there's one condition: surrender. The power of Oir is bittul. The moment Oir stays in Metzias, as I told you last time, it's like pulling out the plug. You just unplug the refrigerator. You can go on vacation. You're finished. The moment Oir says, look at me, pretty good, no? I'm doing well, Oir, huh? Ganz good for Oir, not bad, yeah? I have atzmos, I have yichaylas, I have l'mayla and cats. Don't tell anybody, but it's getting even better. The moment that does, the Oir suddenly became Ois Oir. It's like the ray of the sun coming into the house, or you're sitting on the beach, your private beach, enjoying the sun, and you turn to you're like, oh wow, what amazing sunlight. What amazing sunlight after a crazy winter. What beautiful sunlight I got in Miami. I don't know why you came here, but welcome. You changed the weather. And the ray of the sun is so proud of itself, why do I need the sun? Look what I just did for these people. So the ray of the sun tells the sun, it was nice knowing you. You're a dictator, you're an abuser, you're a tyrant, you're a control freak. I'm going on my own. Huh? You're overwhelming, yes. I'm going on my own. I already learned to trade. I'm opening my own company. What do I have to work for you? A ganav, a gazlan, a shakrin, a lowlife. I'm going to do my own real estate company. That's classic Jewish story. What do I have to work for this guy and get a salary when he's raking it in? The sun. I'm the one who does it. The sun doesn't even do anything. As it's done schlaft. I'm the guy who has to travel here 186,000 miles per hour. 300,000 kilometers per hour. I got it right?
Yeah, better, yeah.
Okay, better. Because 186,000 miles per hour. No, he's counting. He's counting. You're not counting, but he's counting.
I'm just here for checks. Make sure it's correct. Checks and balances.
So what happens? The ray of the sun says goodbye to the sun, and you know where that ray ended up in? In the Beis HaKvaros. 8 minutes later, he was dead. Didn't take long. They called Atzalah. The ray of the sun is incredible because he's the ray of the sun. The moment the ray says, come look at me, take a picture of me. Light says, take a picture of me. I don't know. I don't even see light. I see you. But what am I really seeing? Light. Because that is how we connect. We connect through light. But what's the chiddush of light? That light allows us to connect with everything because it has no ego. In the physical world, it's of course still limited in physical terms. In the shayrish of Ohr, which is Ein Sof, the Ohr is Ein Sof.
Physics also works like that.
Okay. So he says in physics it's also that way, okay?
I don't think I know it works that way.
He knows that in physics it works that way. You think it works. I don't think and I don't know. I'm either.
There is one of the biggest challenges in the world that nobody knows, except maybe one of the cousins that passed away. So there is the biggest challenge in the physical world. What's gravity? What's gravity, right?
Yeah.
So I think what you're talking about is, in a way, according to my cousin, Boris Mushnik, he's passed away. So the physics of gravity works through, it's complex. It works through dipole, concept of dipole, where basically their two nikudas are related. But essentially, the light that we experience, doesn't matter physical or whatever light is, it changes something in you. It touches you. It touches you. So in a way, it touches your antenna. Now the question is if your antenna can emit on the same frequency or not, back. But essentially, the light does something to you, and it works almost like a gravity. Even if you don't emit anything back, it's there. The gravity holds you up. So it's like, even if you think you are detached, so it doesn't work this way because that's part of the fabric that it was created. So it's like, I think what he's getting into is the concept of gravity that nobody understands, by the way, in physics.
Wow.
Again, with the exception of my cousin, Boris Mushkin, who is all shown. So, it's yours in those couple of weeks ago.
I didn't get that one, but okay. Next paragraph. For Inyan Baza, the Inyan in all of this is Kif Shemavayir Admurem Tzai B'Teres Chaim B'Fidush HaMaimer Antu Ilah Kol Eloin Zim Al Kol Simen. It's based on the Mittler Rebbe explains, after he discussed the Alter Rebbe, and I told you that in the Maamar of Basi Legani, the Rebbe would build it from each one of the of his predecessors all the way from the Baal Shem Tov. So the Basi Legani was a Maamar that was built from the Torah, from the Baal Shem Tov, the Maggid, the Alter Rebbe, all the way down. And so the whole Maamar, you'll see at the end, the structure is made up from a different Maamar of each one of the Rebbes. This we only did in Basi Legani because it was the Maamar of Shvat when he was Makabel, the Nesiah. So it's very fascinating. So it's not in the order always. So first he discussed the Alter Rebbe with Ohr. Now he discusses first from the Mittler. Mittler Rebbe is a Sefer Teres Chaim. It says Maamarim on the Parshas. Teres Chaim Bereishis, Teres Chaim Shmos. So in Teres Chaim, in Parshas Noach, the famous Maamar about the Der Haflaga, Akudim, Nekudim, Brudim, we learned it once in Torah Ohr. He explains the Maamar in Pasach Eliyahu, Antu Ilah Kol Eloin Tzimah Kol Sasima. Those who've davened the Nusach of the Alter Rebbe know that Erev Shabbos, before Mincha, the Alter Rebbe put in Pasach Eliyahu. Some people say it in the morning before davening, some people say it after davening, some people say it on Shabbos. Pasach Eliyahu is the introduction of Tikkunei Zohar. If you ever say it's Friday, we say it Friday before Mincha, after Hoidu, the Baal Shem Tov instituted Hoidu Lashem Kitov from Tehillim, Kov Zayin, Erev Shabbos, because every week you go through the 4 challenges of what you have to say, Berchas HaGoimel, so you make the Hoidu. At the end of the week, you're thankful that you came through the week, you came out, you're ready for Shabbos. So that's the Hoidu Lashem Kitov, Hoidu Lashem Chazdai, and then there's the Pasach Eliyahu. Pasach Eliyahu starts off, it's the introduction of Tikkunei Zohar. Pasach Eliyahu v'Amar. Eliyahu Hanavi opened up and said, Riboin Almin, the master of the world. Antu chad v'lo b'chushban, antu ilah al kol iloyin, sesima al kol sesimin, leis machshavet tfisa b'chlal, antu da pikas asar tikunin v'karinan lohoin asar sfirin. Lan haga bein almin stimmin, the lo yizgal, almin stimmin, the yizgal, the whole hemshech. Quote, I don't know Zoya Balpeb, I just say it on Friday, so I know it. The master of the world, he's really going through here. Antu chad, you're one, v'lo b'chushban, you're not one as part of a cheshbon. It's not like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Antu chad, you're one, but v'lo b'chushban. It's not part of a calculation like one leading to two. It's complete oneness. You. Antu ilah al kol ilayin. You're higher even than the highest. Sesima, concealed, al kol setimin, above everything that's concealed. Higher and more concealed than everything that's high and concealed. Leis machshavet tfisa b'chlal. No thought can grasp you. Antu da pikas asar tikunin, and then you emanated 10 characteristics called the 10 spheres. And he goes through all the spheres. It's Keser and Chachma and Bina, all the way down. And then he says, Antu chakim v'la b'chachma yediyah, you're wise but not with knowing wisdom. Antu mevin v'la b'vina yediyah, you have Bina but it's not knowing Bina. There's no place where it's known of. Even your spheres are not something that we can define and know. It just allows the world to experience you in those forms and categories as knowledge, wisdom, kindness, compassion, strength, discipline. That's what the spheres are for. That's basically some of the structure of Pasach Eliyahu. This is from Eliyahu Hanavi, recorded in the Zohar. So Chassidus explains all these words. What does this mean? You start off Antu chad v'lo v'chushban, Antu ilah al kol ilayin, Sesima al kol sesimin, Leis machshavet tfisa b'chal, Antu da pikas asar tikunin. So obviously, to get from you to the spheres, there's some form here of evolution. Yeah. So the question is, what are you really talking about? So that's what he's going to say. And he's going to show how these words of the Zohar are really manifesting what the Maamar is saying here in Basi Legani. That's what he says. Sheyesh b'zeh beis pirush, in the middle of the Rebbe brings us 2 pirush. Pirush ha'alef, antu ilah al kol ilah in sisim al kol sibin koi al oisa hadarge shaleh namar lifnei ze antu chad v'la b'chushban. Shedarge zu yesh ba'inyan noisef antu ilah al kol ilah in sisim al kol sisim. The first explanation is antu chad v'la b'chushban is atu ilah al kol ilah in sisim al kol sisim. It's the same madrega, it's the same dimension. In other words, Antu chad v'la b'chushban. You're one without any cheshbon, not a part of a cheshbon. Oneness essential. And that same ant is ilah al kol ilah sisim al kol sisim. Umuvin shel pirush zeh bevadei she'antu sima da kol sistimin hainu shu sosum be'etzem l'mayla mikol hastimin sha'stimus shelehem irak be'erech ladargas shelamata mem v'loi boyfriend shesosum be'etzem sherei al dargazu nemer Antu chad v'la b'chushban she'en yafilu b'cheshbon eses sviris hagnuzes. It's very easy here to get stuck in words, but it's not about the words. Antu chad v'lo b'chushban, according to this interpretation, is you're not talking about atzmos. Why? Because about atzmos, we don't say you're not part of a cheshbon. You don't talk about any definitions, not even one. About atzmos, you don't even say one. Not because he's 2 and not 3, because he's not 2 and he's also not 1. There's no definition. So already, once you're talking about Antu chad v'lo b'chushban, according to Chassidus, you're talking about Oir. Always. Again, Oir is the relational field. It's the way Ein Sof is perceived, Antu chad v'lo b'chushban. And then you're saying, Antu ilah al kol ilah sisim al kol sisim. You're more concealed than anything that's concealed, and this is higher than 10 spheres. Not only the 10 spheres, in Kabbalah, there's Eses spheres hagluyas and Eses spheres hagnuzas. Eses spheres hagluyas is like the fire on the coal. Eses spheres hagnuzas is like the fire inside the coal. You have to blow on it. So pre-tzimtzum, the 10 spheres are called Eses spheres hagnuzas. The 10 spheres, they're still embedded in the coal, or like a spark in the flintstone, even deeper. It's in the flintstone, but it's not accessible yet. But that's still a number 10, Eses spheres. Here, it's ilah al kol ilah and sesima al kol sesimin. So even, what's al kol stimin? Even the Eses spheres hagnuzas, which are stimin, this is higher than that. Because it's not Eser, it's 1. Antu chad v'lo b'chushban. So he says, that means it's sasum be'etzem. You have something that's sasum relative to the lower levels. In other words, relative to the revealed, this is concealed, but it's not essentially concealed. You have ideas that I don't understand. Not that nobody understands them, I don't understand them. In the higher level, you do understand them. Sasum be'etzem means it's essentially inaccessible. Not because you're too low. As he said before, it's never going to be revealed. It's not shayach to gilui. It's essentially sasum. That's pshat sima al kol sasimin. And this is all talking about the oir, the antu chad v'lo b'chushbon. So this brings out the lamayla adein ketz in the oir. So it's higher than necessary second. Or Pirish Habezi has a second pshat shel achri adargad antu chad v'lo b'chushbon. The koil atzmo say in sef mamish b'chinas hamoyer. Choshev dargan esefes shalamatim is antu ilah kol aloin sima kol sasimin. But he has a second pshat there that antu ilah is not antu chad. It's already a lower level. Antu chad is a higher end. Antu ilah. But begam lepirush zeh masher kosev kol stimin that is a koil kol ayonim shem b'chinas stimin dainu gam eses v'des hagnuzes. V'im kein gam lepirush zeh antu stima the kol stimin dainu shel sasam betzem. Even according to this, it's not that we changed. It's just the antu chad went higher. Antu chad is the yecholos, the moyer. The yecholos in atzmos. So antu ilah kol aloyin is still higher even than eses v'des hagnuzes. So it all brings out what's pshat? That it's sasum be'etzem. Not sasum because I don't know about it. It's be'etzem sasum. It's not shayich to gilui. It's not shayich to gilui. V'zeh shemavayir b'hem shechayelula she'inyin de l'mayla mayla adin ketchezo winyan antu ilah kol aloyin simal kol sasimin hu oir hanelam v'asasum she'enoi begeder gilui la'olam la'yavai begeder gilui la'olamas. What's the lamayla adin ketz in the oir? It's that type of oir that's not in the realm of revelation. It will never be revealed. Not because I don't want to reveal it, because it's not shayich to gilui. It's not shayich to the word gilui. The word gilui and this can't relate. It's not only concealed relative to the recipient. I didn't get it yet. I'm not cracked open. I don't have the brains. I don't have the heart. I'm too low. No. It's be'etzem sasum. Sesima al kol sesimin. You have things that are sasum because it's too big. It's too secretive. It has to be confidential. I'm not there yet. I don't have the brains. That's sasum. Sesima al kol sesimin means it's not sasum because there's no recipient that's just ready for it. It's be'etzem sasum. Mitzad itself, it's sasum. It's a secret in and of itself, not because you don't know about it. You understand? It's not because you don't know. That's not what makes it a secret, that you don't know about it. What makes it a secret is, it's essentially a secret. Even if everybody knows about it, it's still a secret, because they don't know it. You know, some things. Even in its own essence, it's not begilui. It's not revealed to me, it's not revealed to you. Everybody has secrets they don't tell anybody. But to them say it. Then there's secrets you can't even tell yourself. Why? For yourself, it's also a secret. Because it's that aspect of self that can't be revealed. It's not because I can't share it with you, but by me it's revealed. I know about it, I experience. No, even in me it's awesome. This means that we're talking about atzmos, that even in atzmos it's awesome. Legabe Hashem kivayachal it's awesome. That's weird. Right? You say, there's the element of Ur Batzmusi that's Gili Batzmusi. That's Ur. The Ur that's revealed, it's Hashem revealed in his essence. And then there's the parts of Atzmos that even in Atzmos you say it's not revealed. And that's the Lamayla Aden Ketz in Ur. Good. You're confused. Baruch Hashem. In other words, like respect when you make a quantum leap, you need an ion in the middle. You can't right away. We live in a generation, the microwave oven, so we need it fast and hot. But you're talking about quantum stuff. There's an ion be'emtza. You're right. So without definitions, we're just using words. You're right. All words are traps. That's true. But but still, we live in a world of words, so we do words. But these words are indicators. They're channels. These words are helping us transport ourselves into a realm without words. Yeah. Of course it's better to be silent. You're right. The problem is we live in a world where we don't understand silence. We perceive silence as absence. The moment we'll perceive silence as information, as truth, then we could all be silent, and then I'll be quiet. Trust me, I'll be quiet. If God wants me to be quiet.
You just need to get us there.
And myself. It's not just you, myself too. When I'll trust my silence, you'll also trust it. So it's not just about you. You're going to listen? You'll come? You'll come to my silence? Okay.
I come to a silence also.
Real silence is deafening. Sasum be'etzem can only come out in a deafening experience. So I want you to, what is the Rebbe saying here? He's saying here is, when you talk about atzmos, yeah.
He can relate to what he's saying.
He didn't only relate to this, lived this. Mamish, it lived this.
It means we have to get there.
That, of course. Good morning. Welcome, you and Columbus discovering America. Only through Avodah. With Haskalah, you don't get there. Haskalah, it's cute mathematics, even inspiring mathematics. It's not mathematics, it's Torah, it's Chassidus. So it's not mathematics, but it's not this Inyan. To put it differently, Haskalah without Avodah essentially proves that this is inauthentic. You understand? That's the pain of it. In the person, it means that by the person it's inauthentic. In other words, if this is true, it's in the kishkas, it's in my nervous system. If it's not, it's not. That's why. It's not just you're learning something and you're not applying it, so you didn't go all the way. So fine, you didn't go all the way. So what, you have to run the whole marathon? You ran half the marathon. It's a different type of inyan here. That's why he says it's my mitzalim behechel. So let's understand something. We can't talk about atzmos, but one thing we could say that we can't talk about atzmos, that we say. Now, even when we say we can't talk about atzmos, it's also not the real thing, because when we say we can't talk about it, it's saying I can't talk about that. So when I say I can't talk about that, I'm already talking about it. I'm giving you context. This I can talk about, and this I can't talk about. But very much, whenever somebody has to negate something, it's because they're connected to it, right? Saying, I'm not lying. Why do you think you're lying? Because yesterday I lied, because tomorrow I'm going to lie, because I wanted to lie. I'm not lying, right? I'm saying the truth. I promise you I'm saying the truth. Okay, you don't have to say it 100 times. Whenever we negate something, it's because we're stuck a little bit over there. So we're trying to pull ourselves away. So whenever we say you can't talk about atzmos, it's because it's still stuck in a way where you could talk. And that's why he's saying I can't talk. So I'm just making that disclaimer. But one inyan that l'chayda is clear from the whole idea, that when we talk about atzmos, there's no definition. When I say there's no definition, there's also no definition of saying that there's no definition. In other words, no definition really means no definition. Not even the definition that there's no definition. Bli gvul, ein sof is also a definition. At least the way we experience it. There's no definition. Fine, so there's no definition, there's also a definition. Yeah. And that's what we're saying. There's an inyan that's shayach to gilui. There's the kayach hagvul in atzmos. The yicheles hagvul. The yicheles means Hashem has the ability, just like a genius. He could speak in a way that you hear genius, and he could speak in a way that a 5-year-old understands. And a real genius can do both. A real genius can do both. He's not defined this way, he's not defined this way. I could limit myself, and I could reveal myself. I could limit myself to the point that it seems like it's very simple stuff. And then I could not limit myself, and it's not simple stuff. So you have the inyan of of Gilui. That reveals that which can be revealed of Ein Sof. What can be revealed of Ein Sof? Whatever can be revealed of Ein Sof is some form of limited awareness. But l'chayda, Ein Sof can't be revealed through So the Chiddush here was saying that the itself is Ein Sof. So the captures not only that which can be revealed, which is Begeder Gilui, but also that which is not Begeder Gilui. In other words, even in his Atzmos. So this is the etzem of Chassidus is called etzem ha'or. There's the spashtus of and etzem ha'or. That the of Hashem doesn't only carry that which is revealed, that which is capable of being revealed, even that which is sasam be'etzem. What's that sasam be'etzem? It's not shayich to gilui, and that's also chelik, that's also or. That's the oisis here. That's what he's saying. Antu ilal kol line simal kol sim, and that's the or. Let's learn one more paragraph here, and then Be'ezrat Hashem will continue the Maamar Monday morning. The Maamar continues to explain Shebeizin Yon Nemei L'Masher and Sefer Malamad and Ketzel Matavat and Tachlis Hein Beis B'chinas Makif. Makif der Yasher or Makif der Chayzer. If you didn't have enough words, so here you have new terms. The Maamar says these two aspects in Ur are called two types of Makif. Makif of Ur Yasher, Makif of Ur Chayzer. And he says, Makif der Yasher or Makif HaKarev or Begeder Gili HaKolpana. Makif der Chayzer or Makif HaRachik ve'ene Begeder Gili Klal. Makif of Ur Yasher is called Makif HaKarev, the Makif that's close. And it could be revealed. It's in the realm of revelation, even if it's not revealed. Makif of Ur Chayzer is called Makif HaRachik. It's Bechlal, not Begeder Gili. That's the two things we're talking about. Oh, so generally we have a term, these are Kabbalistic terms, Ur Yasher, Ur Chayzer. Literally, Ur Yasher means light that flows upward, from upward, downward. Light, it transports. Ur Chayzer is the light that bounces off the recipient and returns back. Ur Yasher is always Milmaila Lamata, from the higher to the lower, from the giver to the recipient, like a teacher communicating to a student and sharing, a parent sharing with a child, love, information, mentorship, connection. Ur Chayzer is the light that returns, the light that bounces back.
That acknowledges the light that came.
It receives whatever it receives, and then something that goes back from the source, from the earth. Or like I said before, you become the source. Initially, I was just a recipient, and then suddenly, you're giving back something. Yeah. It's like you plant the seed into the earth, so the earth is a receiver. The earth received the seed. The earth received the water from the rain. The earth received sunlight. The earth received air. The earth is just like, I'm just here. Suddenly, you go away. A few years later, you come back, and the earth says, oh, here's a gift. Here's your apple tree. Whoa, I never put this in. I put enough the seed. That was anyway rotten. It was on my windowsill. I threw it into the earth. I buried it. Oh, the rain. The earth says, yeah, here's back. Yeah. The husband gives something to his wife. 9 months later, she comes back. Here's a child. Ur Chayzer. The Ur Chayzer comes from the earth back up. So there's Ur Yashar, there's Ur Chayzer. Here he says, Makif of Ur Yashar and Makif of Ur Chayzer. Yeah. In a different word, you say, Ur Yashar goes downward. Ur Chayzer goes upward. How high does it go? As high as it can. It goes up. In these words, it's going to be L'mayla adin ketz. Ur Yashar is Lamata adin tachlas. But here he doesn't use the words Ur Yashar and Chayzer. He uses the words Makif of Ur Yashar and Makif of Ur Chayzer. So in Ur Yashar and Ur Chayzer itself, you're talking about the Makif. There's two terms, Ur Pnimi, Ur Makif. Ur Pnimi is integrated light. Ur Makif is that which is above, it's superior, it's transcendent. Transcendent always called Makif. Something that's integrated into the vessels is called Pnimi. It goes internal. Makif means it surrounds, but we don't mean surrounding spatially. Surrounding means it's above the vessels of my consciousness, so it affects me in a more subconscious way, in a more transcendent way. It's something that has a relationship with me, but the relationship is not so conscious because I don't know exactly, I can't make sense of it. It doesn't fit into my vessels. Somebody can give somebody information, he's going to say, and 40 years, you don't know what they told you, but it made a ruckus in your system. We don't realize these things. There's information I tell you, and you go home with it, you say, Geschmack, beautiful. I could do something with it. You go to a business course, a computer course, an investment course, you get information, you go home and you start implementing. You have a to-do list, you know what to do. That's pnimi. Then there's things, real teachers, they plant seeds. You don't even know what you heard, but your system knows. And it sits in you. It sits in you 40 years. It sits in you 10 years, 5 years, 6 months. You don't even know, but it creates a revolution. But it's much deeper because you didn't control it. It wasn't on your terms. It was high. That's called makif. What are you making like this? You're experiencing something. If you want to share.
I was just contrasting the course and coming to this year.
Yeah. The worst thing about these shiurim is you don't go out with a vart. You really don't. Yeah. Like if you're looking for a Shabbos table, 3-minute fast Moshe Rabbeinu, pare, boom, 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 then Basi Legani is not that. I just have to say that. For that, you go to a Rabbi YY clip. There's enough clips, okay? It's not makif harachik, it's not makif hakarev, it's not makif havayosh, it's not makif hachayze. It's a good word for your Shabbos table, with a joke. Which I'm not, this very important stuff, dira b'tachdoin. So that's makif and pnimi. But in makif, there's makif of yashar and makif of chayzer. So he says, lamata adein tachlis, that's makif of yashar. That's the first level of the It's still called makif, we'll see why. That's lamata adein tachlis. Makif of chayzer is lamayla adein ketz. Now what's this? This is what the Maamar says. To explain all of this, the Maamar Basi Legani gives a metaphor from a teacher with a student. Now, the metaphors of teachers and student is one of the most common metaphors that Alter Rebbe would give in Chassidus. He saw this metaphor as key, because Rav and Talmud here is not just talking about a hired student with a hired teacher who have to spend a few hours a day. Rav and Talmud is like the ultimate Rebbe and the ultimate Talmud. The Rebbe whose entire essence is invested in teaching, channeling, and the student who's really, really ready to receive, which is a unique phenomenon on both ends, I just have to say. It's not a higher job. We're talking about Rav and Talmud in the most essential, pristine form of Rav and Talmud. And this mashal was always used by the Alter Rebbe and the Rabbeim for the process of creation. What's the mashal he gives? The real Rav, his seichel may be shaloi be'erech, completely on a different frequency than the seichel, the intellect of the student. But the Rav knows his job is tzimtzum. He filters, he constricts, he condenses and compresses his ideas so that the student can receive. And when he actually learns the idea with him, he may be communicating something that is very, very deep, and the student has no shaykhs to it. So he says, okay, we're going to bring it down. And he brings it down, and he limits the flow, and he encloses it, he packages it in a way that's presentable. So yeshne chelik haseichel v'asvara shemisyashav b'kli hamakabel b'chi toiv. There is the parts of the idea. He's such a good teacher, he's so skilled, he's so dedicated that it actually settles into the recipient in a good way. In other words, the student grasps it to the point that they become one. Like in Tanya explains Pedeke, what happens when you learn. That you really integrate the idea, it's mamish one with you. Like you go home, this is me. The Alter Rebbe compares it to food. When you eat a good meal, a healthy meal, it's not just the food went into your system. No, the food is you now. First, it wasn't you. It was food that I took into my mouth. I had to bite, I had to digest. But after the digestion, what happens is not me and the food. It's now part of my bloodstream, it's part of my energy. That's why what you eat is very important, as we all know. Because it becomes you. That's what real teaching is. Real teaching is not I gave you food and now you put the food somewhere in your kishkas. That's not eating. That's going to create a horrible digestive system. Real food, that's why you have to know what you're eating. Real food is the food that becomes seamlessly integrated with you to the point it's not food anymore, it's my energy, it's me. That's why foods that don't assimilate into the system can be toxic. It's very important. The same is true with learning. Real learning on this level is yichud nifla. It becomes completely one. It's not even it's not the teachers anymore, it's the students. If you give me food in your house, it's not yours anymore. Once you give it to me, it's me. It's me. That's what real learning is. Real learning is not the teacher, it's the student. It's not my Rebbe said. That's nice, but that's not learning. Real learning is I say. That's what real learning is. It becomes me. It becomes part of his system. It changes him forever. Because as long as it's the Rebbe saying it, it's not changing him. He's just quoting. He's quoting, which is nice. But for that, you can go to Encyclopedia Britannica, alav shalom, or Wikipedia. You stop quoting and you start. It's me. This has become mine. It's a different type of learning. Like he really gets it. He gets it. How do you right away see? You start asking a few questions. You see if he's just repeating or he really got it. But since he's still a student who's learning from the teacher, so there's a part of the seichel that remains makif. What's pshat makif? Makif means he did not integrate it. It remains above his present system. Va'afal b'kenad is a makif hakarev. It's makif, but it's called karev, close. Hainu she'inyan zeh shayich elav b'kurev elav. It's connected to him. It's close to him. It's still makif. Like you say later, garments. Garments are not inside of me, but they're connected to me and they have to be my size. I can't wear a jacket that's 3 sizes smaller or bigger. It's not going to fit. So it's called makif, but it's karev. It's accessible. This can be seen from the Gemara in Avodah Zarah. The Gemara says it takes 40 years, till 40 years, a person does not really master the das of his Rebbe. Why? I learned it 40 years ago. It's not that 40 years later I go back to my Rebbe and he says, let me teach it again. No. It took 40 years to understand the first idea. Why? You're not about a student who's ADD, HD, whatever on steroids. He wasn't listening, he was fashlaf. You're talking about a real student. And we learn it from Moshe Rabbeinu. The Gemara says there, the Moshe Rabbeinu after 40 years says, you did not have ears to hear and eyes to see and a heart to perceive till today. 40 years learning from Moshe Rabbeinu, you didn't understand what I was saying. So the Gemara says it takes 40 years for a person to really understand his Rebbe. What's pshat? So the Rebbe explains, the since we say that after 40 years when you'll understand the depth, it's not that he teaches it to you again. Rather, 40 years ago what he teaches you, finally, now you got the depth which you never got. This means that even the first day when he taught it to you, it was already doing its work on you. It just took 40 years to clinch, what is it? Huh? That's makaf HaKarev. The first day it already worked. Like the story with Rabbi Akiva, right? After 40 years, he started to learn why. Because he went to the river and he saw that there was a rock that was penetrated through a flow of water. Every moment, another drop of water. And he said, if water can penetrate the rock this way, then my rock, my stone can also be penetrated. And Rabbi Akiva started to learn. He became Rabbi Akiva. Kula libid Rabbi Akiva. No, I wanted to add, I don't know. Rabbi Akiva didn't know that there's rocks that are penetrated by water. What happened? What did he see? This is the Vart. Rabbi Akiva realized the hole in the rock didn't happen after 5,000 years. The change started with drop number 1. If drop number 1 would have done nothing, drop number a billion, 100 billion times 100 billion would have done nothing. Change starts with change. 1 drop did nothing. That's not true. It's not true. The journey of 1,000 miles started with this 1 step. True, I could stop there and then nothing is going to happen. He says, if after 40 years something changed, it's because the first moment something changed. So why didn't I feel it? Makif, that's makif. Makif HaKarev. Why is it called karev? Because it's coming in. It's doing its work. So the real teacher doesn't only teach a student that which he could receive now, he puts into the system that which he'll be able to fully unravel 40 years from now. Now it's very humbling from the teacher because nobody knows he's doing this because the student doesn't appreciate this. 40 years later, that's a real Rebbe. He's happy to know what's pnimi and what's makif. And makif I can't give pnimi, I can only give makif. It's fine, but it's makif HaKarev. When Rabbi Akiva saw that, what's the most discouraging thing for people in learning? It's that the first drop doesn't look like anything. Well, you learned for 3 minutes a day. You learned 1 Mishnah, Groise Gedula. Look at this. You're not even going to know this. You learned 1 Mishnah. You learned 1 Halacha in Rambam. You learned 1 Pasuk Chumash. It's a joke. And then you start hearing people there quoting the whole Shas, and I'm like, what a loser I am. That's the greatest mistake of people. The greatest mistake of people is they don't believe in the first drop. That's why Rabbi Akiva was discouraging him. Rabbi Akiva had a big mind. But where am I going to begin? But that's the Vart. The first drop makes the change. And then if you're Zoich, you have a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth, v'chulin. So that's Makif HaKarev. That's why 40 years later, he doesn't have to teach it to you again. Because from the first moment, it was already shaykh to you. But it was shaykh to you in a way that you couldn't yet see how much it was shaykh to you. It's accumulative. Everything that happens in life is accumulative. Don't just give credit to the last year. Everything that happened was leading you up to this. That's why the breakthrough could happen now. But the breakthrough didn't happen now. The breakthrough happened 40 years ago. That's makif hakalev. Your teufels, that's the first inyan. So there's two elements. There's what the teacher gives in a way that you say, I got it. And then there's a way the teacher gives and like, okay. It's like an okay. But it starts working its magic. 40 years later, he nailed it. Kiva, now comes here. But now comes here a whole new word. You relate to this word of Kaiman and Shaddai to the Rabbi? There's things pashut, huh? Not yet. Okay, very good. Very good. That's to trust. It's a lot of trust. This takes a lot of trust. It's a lot of trust. It's knowing what can go into Kalim and what can't go into Kalim. But still, it could be makif, and makif is karev. What's that karev? Karev is, it starts working the system on a subconscious level. Huh? I'm here. Do you have trust in yourself? Kivan sharavu shalai berachal talmid. Nishar meitzel arav inyanim keilu shagam la'achere abayim shnin loikayim in shadai to the Rav mchinas makif harachik. Since in the mashal we said the Rav is shalai be'erach, it's completely in a different league than the student. So there are things that stay by the teacher that even after 40 years, the student will not get. That's called makif harachik. It's not just makif now, but it's karev to you because it could be integrated. It's just you're not there yet. You don't have the life experience. You don't have the maturity. You don't have the wisdom. You don't have the depth. You didn't go through the challenges. So you're simply not a keli yet. You know, life needs experience. That's how it is. Something about age. There's something about marriage. There's something about raising children. There's something about crises. There's something about loss. There's something about pain. Everybody understands that. There's something about life that's not replaceable. Right? I can't tell the 12-year-old everything because he'll have all the information, but it's meaningless. A scholar without avodah. There's something about why we said Vadarta Pnei Zaken, why we honor elderly people. It's irrelevant who. There's something about, you know, the knetchen on the panim, what is it called? The creases on the face. Huh? The wrinkles. But then there's in Yonim, he says, that it stays by the Rav in a way that even after 40 years he doesn't get. This is called makif harachik. V'hainu she'ein hakavana. Now here, see, this is weird. It looks like he's saying a little vart to explain the Rebbe Dayatz's Maamar, but here he's saying the whole minyan. V'hainu ein hakavana linyanim she'ein lem shaychus la talmid klal. We're not talking about things that are not connected to the Talmud. Gaz ef shalom she'em b'chinas makif ala Talmud. Then you wouldn't even call it makif harachik. Don't call it makif. It's not connected to me. So it's not connected to me. Don't call it pnimi. Don't call it makif. Afilu loy makif harachik. Stop calling it makif. Makif means it's relational. Ela hakavani li'inyonei harav sheyesh lam shaychus ala talmud. Ela shaychus hi b'ofen shel makif harachik. Pshat is it's connected to him, but the connection is through makif harachik. Now here again, same he just did the same paradox again. You tell me this pnimi, I get it, integrated. Makif HaKarev, I get. There's things I need time, I need space. It's relational, but you couldn't get it, fine. The water has to go for 40 years until it penetrates. But the whole time it was doing its work. Now you're telling me there's things that are not relatable. It's Makif HaRachik, I get that. He says, no, don't think it's not relatable, because then I wouldn't call it Makif. Just say it's not relatable, they're disconnected. No, they're connected. But the way it's connected is through Makif HaRachik. So when a person was learning the Maamar of the Rebbe Dayatz, he hears this much, okay, Makif HaRachik means you're disconnected. So the Rebbe says, no, don't think that. So here you see language, right? We said before, what's the whole chiddush of the Maamar? That in Oir you have L'mayla den Ketz, not in Atzmos. He just said that here. In the relationship of the Rav and the Talmud, there's things that they relate to through Makif HaRachik. Don't think Makif HaRachik is the part that you're abandoned. This you have no access to. You're a student, you're a great guy. I'll give you what I can give you. I'll even give you what I can't give you now, but you'll get it in 40 years. But then there's things that, at kan, akafa aleph, they just are.
Conscious, subconscious, and essence.
Oh, so there's the conscious, and then there's the subconscious, and then there is that which he gives. But even after 40 years, he won't know it. So he says, okay, so it's not connected. He says, it is connected. If it wouldn't be connected, I wouldn't call it makif.
It's more connected than anything.
So he says, there is a shaykhis, but the shaykhis is makif harachik. So how is he communicated? So he can't say it in words. The Talmud is not even going to get it after 40 years. So just say he's not going to get it. He's not going to get it.
Who cares if you get it?
Huh?
It's stored somewhere.
This you got, yeah?
Just say it fast.
So this is not an Indian of 40 years. It's not going to be before 40 years. It's not going to need 40 years. It's not even one day. Yeah. The way he gets it, the shaykhis is through something we call makif harachik, which the Maamar now explains what makif is, what makif harachik. What does that mean? You get it through makif harachik. Everybody thinks makif harachik means it remains aloof, it remains detached, it never landed. So the Rebbe says the chiddush here is no, it lands in such a profound way that you can't say that the Talmud got it. Not because the Talmud didn't get it because it has no shaykhis to him.
Within the framework of getting it.
Because it's not within a framework of getting it. It's a different type of information. In fact, you can't call it information.
Wait a second. It's something that you don't have an access to, or
You don't have access to when you're talking about access.
maybe you get the access through some kind of experience, but you will get that key that you will be able to open it up, or it's talking about something else.
It just is.
It's you're asking a good question. You're asking a good question. The real information here is that in the complete independence of the Talmud, he's giving the Talmud something that he has to find it all inside of himself.
So the access keys he has to find.
This is something he has to find in himself. This is something, he gives him something that he knows that it's all inside of him. It's given by the Rav. In the language of this Maamar, it's that the Ohr gives the world not just lamata adein tachlis, but lamayla adein ketz, which is sasum be'etzem. It's not shaykh to revelation. So how does that come out? That doesn't come out in a way of revelation. Wow, my teacher gave me amazing. 40 years ago he said something, I got it. He didn't give me, I didn't get it. 40 years later. So where is it? It's a gift that you don't even attribute to the source. You know why? Because it's the source itself. A gift that you attribute to the source is flow. So you're out of the source. A gift that you don't attribute to the source, it's you're the source. You are the source. You become source. You're the gift. You become source. How does that come out in reality? It comes out in reality in complete separation. I'm not a recipient anymore. It looks horrible. Keep me as your student. I want to be your student. It says when Mashiach comes, there won't be any students. Lo yalamdu oid ishis re'eyu ki kulam yedu oisi. Really? Yeah. Keep me as your student. I want to be a student. There's something so beautiful about being a student, no? A real student. I'm talking about a real student. There's something so beautiful about being oir. You know why? You get everything and you're not responsible. It's amazing. You sit at the feet of your master, you get everything, and you don't even have to take a chrayas. The best of both worlds. Makif harachik means you're the Rebbe. Huh? The Hest? Okay, we'll continue Monday morning, Be'ezrat Hashem, 8 o'clock a.m. Have a beautiful Shabbos. Shalom Aleichem. And we learn at 8:45, so usually like 10:15 we start. 8:45 is a shir, and then 10:15, 10 o'clock. Yeah, 20, yeah. You understood? Which level? Abandonment? You understood abandonment?
Everybody understands abandonment.
Everybody comes to life. What do you say about Ohr Chaim?
No, I hit me. Ohr Chaim hit me like a ton of bricks today.
So, what, explain? That what?
It's the black. It's the void. When you can only once you go into the complete void and complete darkness, then you can return. Because otherwise, then you're playing catch.
You're catching the ball.
You're just ricocheting. But when you completely absorb it and completely taking it, which goes into a complete darkness, into a complete void, then you can return it. That's true. That's complete.
You'll continue by text.
What?
You'll continue by text. I understand what you're saying. I don't have to wait 40 years.
You said it. Or maybe not. Maybe I'm not repeating this.
Hopefully you're not.
Yeah, exactly.
You understand? As long as you're repeating what was said, that's not the inyan. The student could never repeat this. The student could never say, I heard this from my teacher. 40 years passed, I never heard this. So l'chayre, you never heard it. He says, no, you heard it all.
You finally made it your own.
But you never heard it from him. That's Ohr Chaim. That's you giving back.
I go home, I tell my wife this is what I wrote.
Oh, so think about it. Very good. I like that Chinese phrase. So that's the makav of Ohr Chaim. It's a whole different inyan, yeah. You read the Maamar of the Friedrich Rebbe, so he gives this mashal, and then he says there's things that are not shaykh to the Talmud, even after 40 years, because it's makav harachik. So you think, okay. So the Rebbe says what he's trying to say is that it's also connected. He said it's so easy to lose that vart. It's connected, but the way it's connected is through makav harachik, not in the way that he's gonna implement it and understand what you're saying. And that's the mashal to understand the oimek of Lamaila and Ketz in the Ohr. It's not in Atzmos. It's not in the Rav. I know the Rav is a good guy. I don't know Shaila the Rav. It's in the Ohr. It's in the Talmud. The Ohr is Talmud, right? Ohr, that's where you see the words. Ohr is the relationship. Rav, it's in the Talmud. It's not in the Rav. The Rav I know has everything. He's amazing. He gave it to the Talmud. How? Through makav harachik. That's the word. He gave it through makav harachik.
Giving information constantly, and then you.
Yeah, but this is an element that's deeper than information. That's the word.
As soon as you want to frame it into information, you're contaminating it. Right.
Right.
Where's the sikh of the
Atzmos hat geschweiren. There's a Sefer HaSichos Tavshin Vav Tavshin Yud from the Rebbe Rayatz. So it's the end of Tavshin Vav. I don't know if you remember Yud Beis Tammuz. I think spring or summer Tavshin Vav. Over there I saw it. Atzmos hat geschweiren. Wird nicht ins Galle werden zu Amaskel. Yeah.
I can attest that it doesn't come to a mask. If you're just going to think about it, it doesn't work.
I hear you.
I don't know about the Avodah part, but I know that it doesn't come to a mask.
The truth is, this morning, I'm like, I don't know, how am I supposed to explain these seifim? It's last. I thought like these two chapters, and somebody said to me this morning, I don't know how you teach these things. It's to this. Baruch Hashem. Ja. Ich bin noch fahren davenen, huh? Yeah.
Yerusha is Makaf HaKarev. In 40 years you'll get it. The father's good name, the child lives with day to day. He lives with it now. It is not something that he'll get later after 120. Oh, I got my father's good name. He gets his father's good name every moment. But
Right.
But it was given to him. It's his father's good name. Right? It's
You mean who his father is in essence,
Yeah, his
not just his Yerusha.
Not just Yerusha. Yerusha is
Beautiful.
Makaf is even closer because you have it now.
You have it right now.
But what is it? It's through Makif HaKarev.
But it's not in a way that you're
It's not
getting.
the way that you're getting it. But
You're saying the Yerusha is like Makif HaKarev. You'll get it after 120.
40
And then,
years you'll get it.
right, and then there's who the Father is. Who the Father is.
And
He has right now. Right now. You get it right now, but
But I didn't even get it.
right.
But that's,
Beautiful.
That's
Beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah.